with all these questions? What's with all this dialogue? What's with the back and forth of the communication? Shut the up. My wife is not here. It's late. Which means stop! Stop! I need to hurry up and do this reaction because the phone, I'm using one of my phones to record and I forgot to charge it. So it was like at the time of this recording, it was like at 24%. So y'all know I love to talk and pause the video. I can't really do that right now. So I'm going to try my best not to pause, but I can't make no promises. Let's go. You got your snacks? Yeah. Your cuddle buddy? Yeah. Adidas? Yeah. Toby, shut up.
This happened last fall when I was staying in a small town in northern Pennsylvania for work.
What?
I do commercial refrigeration repair, and at the time I was driving to different grocery stores and restaurants in smaller towns because our company was short on people. The town I was sent to was the kind of place where everything shut down early, and there were more empty buildings than open ones.
Okay.
I was supposed to be there for 3 nights while I worked on the walk-in freezers at an older family-owned supermarket. My company booked me a motel on the edge of town because it was the only place nearby with vacancy.
No, I don't care. I don't care about none of that. I don't care about none of that. Give me a company car or pay for my Uber because I don't want Lyft. Lyft be clucking up. I want y'all to pay out the ass. I want the whole 9. I want the Uber. What's the top tier you can go? Is it like black SUV? I don't know what it's called. Whatever the highest ride you can get. Because I know you can do wait and save. I know you can do priority. But it's like, what is the highest? Whatever the highest rate is for is it Uber Black or something? Whatever. I want that. And I'm staying at a hotel. Because motel, you got me clucked up. We don't do motels over here. Yeah. I don't know what you talking about. I need all of that.
I got there a little after 7 p.m. on a Thursday. The motel was one of those single-floor places where all the room doors faced the parking lot.
Oh, God.
It had maybe 12 rooms total.
Oh, God.
And only 4 or 5 cars in the lot. The office smelled like old coffee and bleach. The woman at the desk was probably in her 60s.
Oh!
She was friendly.
Oh, God. God, Jesus. She's 60 and up. She clucking up. She had to be 60 at a motel.
But there was something distracted about her. She kept glancing past me toward the parking lot while I was checking in.
Oh, no.
When she handed me the key, she told me if anyone knocked on my door at night, not to answer it unless it was her or the owner.
What?
And she said if I heard anything weird outside, to call the office and not get involved.
What?
She said it in a casual voice, like it was normal advice, but it caught me off guard. I asked if that was because the area was bad, and she just said there were some drifters around sometimes, and they like to ask guests for money.
What is that?
I remember thinking it was a strange thing to say to someone who had just arrived, but I was tired and did.
Hey, baby, I appreciate you saying that right now instead of saying it later on, you know? Because I can't imagine me sleeping in the middle of the night and somebody knocking on my door and I open it because, you know, I'm a cluck ass. And now we get into the fighting, we getting into the cluck activities. I haul ass after beating his ass. I haul ass to the front desk, talk about something. I open up my door to a random person at my door. And you talking about oops. You couldn't say that in the beginning. Thank you, I appreciate you for saying that in the beginning.
Didn't really care. My room was near the far end, second to last.
Right.
Inside, it was clean enough, but it was kind of old. I noticed cigarette burns in the dresser, and the carpet had dark spots.
God damn.
I brought my bag in, grabbed food at the gas station down the road, and came back around 8.
I'm looking at this damn room. Do some motels look like that? I don't know. I never stayed in a motel before. I have never in my life, on everything I love, just ever stayed at a motel. I've been inside of a motel and helped somebody like get their stuff in a motel because they were staying for the night or whatever. But I personally never stayed at a motel. I can't imagine all motels are just maybe I'm just judgmental. I feel like all motels are just
While I was walking to my room, I noticed a man sitting in an older dark green pickup truck 2 spaces away from mine.
Okay.
The truck was running, but the headlights were off. I couldn't see his face clearly because of how dark it was, but I remember he didn't look at me like a normal person would when someone walks by. He just sat perfectly still with both hands on the wheel. I assumed he was waiting for someone. I went inside and spent the next hour eating and watching random stuff on my phone. Around 10:30, I took a shower and got into bed. Maybe 20 minutes later, I heard footsteps outside my room. That didn't bother me at first because other people were staying there. Then the footsteps stopped right outside my door.
Okay.
I waited for someone to unlock it or knock on the room next to mine, but nothing happened. After maybe 15 seconds, the steps moved on. A minute later, I heard them again, slowly coming back the other direction and stopping outside my door a second time. Still no knock, just silence. And then the footsteps walked away again. I got up and looked through the peephole, but I couldn't see anyone. It was probably just someone drunk or confused about which room was theirs.
Oh, clucky.
A little after 11, I was half asleep when someone knocked on the door.
See?
I stayed still and waited. Then the person knocked again, the same exact way. I got up quietly and looked through the peephole again. There was nobody there. That made my stomach drop a little. The parking lot lights were dim, but the walkway in front of the rooms was empty. I stood there for a while, then locked the deadbolt again, even though it was already locked. I was about to get back into bed when I noticed the curtain near the window had shifted slightly. It wasn't open enough to see out, just enough to make me realize someone might be able to see in from outside depending on where they stood. I moved it shut and turned off the lamp. I stayed awake another half hour listening. Right around midnight, I heard something that sounded like metal lightly scraping against metal near the door. I got up and stepped as quietly as I could to the door. For the third time, I looked through the peephole. This time, I saw movement. Somebody was crouched low, almost underneath the peephole view. I could only see the top of a dark baseball cap and one shoulder. I don't know how long I stood there, but it couldn't have been more than 5 seconds before the person stood up and moved away.
Jesus.
I heard footsteps going fast toward the end of the building. I called the office right away. The woman who answered sounded annoyed at first until I told her someone had been right outside my door. Then she got quiet and asked if I had opened it, to which I said no. She told me to stay inside and said the owner was going to check outside. About 2 minutes later, I saw headlights sweep across the curtain. Someone drove slowly through the lot and then left. The office called back and said nobody was there now, and it was probably just someone messing around. I asked if I should call the police, and she said it wouldn't do any good unless the person came back.
I feel like she in cahoots. I feel like she in cahoots, the owner in cahoots. I feel like every single person at this motel or has some sort of I was about to say relationship. What's it called? Like some sort of involvement with the motel. You sus. You know, I feel like the receptionist is sus. The owner is sus. That dude that kept knocking on your door is definitely sus. And then the people that's living in the other rooms is sus. Like,
I barely slept after that. Every little sound woke me up. At some point around 3 in the morning, I did pass out, but I woke up around 5:15 to the sound of my truck door opening alarm.
damn.
I jumped out of bed and looked through the window without moving the curtain much. There was a man standing at the driver's side of my truck with the door half open.
Jesus.
He was tall and wearing a dark jacket and hat. I couldn't see his face because he was turned away from me. Then he looked straight toward my room, like he knew I was watching. He shut the truck door and walked off fast toward the road behind the motel. I called 911 this time. The police came about 15 minutes later.
15 minutes?
They took a report and checked my truck, but they found nothing missing because I never leave anything in it. One officer asked if I was sure I locked it, which made me feel like they already didn't believe me. I knew I locked it. The older officer did seem to...
15 minutes? Okay, if you're in a cluck situation and you call the cops, what is the time frame that they need to show up before damage is already done, or before it's pointless for them to even show up? 15, I would say. No more than 10. I would say no more than 10 minutes, but 10 minutes is a long time, depending on your situation. But okay, yeah, if you can't get here, but if you can't get to me within like 10 minutes, of you hauling ass down the road, sirens on and everything, lights, you going through red lights, don't bother coming. Don't bother coming. I'm dead. I'm sorry.
more interested when I told him about the knocking and the crouching outside my door. He asked the motel owner if they had cameras. They did, but only one in the office and one pointing at the front entrance.
Yeah.
Nothing covering my side of the lot.
Of course.
Before the cops left, the older one told me if it happened again, not to open my door for any reason and to leave as soon as I could in the morning. I asked if they thought it was random, and he just said probably, but his face didn't really match that answer. I had to work that day, and I was already there, so I stayed. I figured I was overreacting anyway.
What?
During the day, everything felt normal. I was at the supermarket from 7 a.m. to almost 6 p.m. By the time I got back to the motel, it was dark again. I parked directly under the brightest light and carried all my tools inside at once so I wouldn't have to go back out. The woman at the desk saw me and asked if I was okay.
Shut up!
I told her I hadn't slept. She hesitated for a second and then said if I wanted, she could move me to room 2 near the office.
Girl! I'm sorry. I already don't want to stay here. I'm about to sue this whole establishment and you and the owner. That's 3 separate big ass checks I'm getting. Ma'am, you miss me with the bullshit. Like, shut the hell up. I already think you in cahoots. What does me going to I have eczema, so that's why I keep, I still think about the guy or the person that commented, am I on something? Because of the pollen, because I kept messing with my eyes, and I kept sniffing, and now I'm scratching. That's not a good look. What makes you think me going to a different room is going to help anything? Shut up.
I asked why she hadn't offered that the night before. She said she didn't think it was necessary.
What?
Then she added something I've thought about a couple times since. She said it usually doesn't happen 2 nights in a row. I asked what that meant, and she immediately acted like she'd misspoken. She just said the drifters normally move on. That made me more uneasy than I already was. I seriously thought about packing up and driving an hour to another hotel, but I was exhausted, filthy from work, and told myself I could just stay one more night and leave in the morning. Around 8 p.m., I got food and brought it back to my room. While I was eating, I heard a truck drive slowly through the lot. I looked through the curtain and saw the same dark green pickup from the night before. It drove past my room, turned around near the road, and parked at the very end of the lot with the lights off. I couldn't see who was inside. I called the office and told them. The owner answered this time, not the woman. He sounded irritated and told me if the truck wasn't blocking me in or damaging anything, there wasn't much he could do. I asked if he knew who it was, and he just said people come and go. I sat there for maybe an hour, checking the window every few minutes. The truck never moved. Eventually, I turned off the TV and lights and tried to sleep with my clothes still on. Sometime after 11, I heard someone walking outside again. Slow, super slow steps. Then a soft tap at the window, not the door. I stayed in the bed. Then another tap, this time closer to the center of the glass. Then a fingernail or something dragged slowly down the window.
Damn!
I could hear it clearly. I had never felt fear like that because I knew the person was standing inches away from where I was lying, and they knew I was in there pretending to be asleep. I grabbed my phone and started dialing 911. But before I hit call, I heard the bathroom window rattle.
Jesus.
It was a tiny frosted window above the toilet. Then I heard something even worse. The sound of the room next to mine opening, like an actual key or tool working the lock, and then the door opening.
Oh my God.
The room next to me had been empty when I checked in. I knew that because I had looked through the crack in the curtains the night before and never saw a car or lights there. I got out of bed and crouched near the wall that connected our rooms. I heard movement next door. Not the heavy footsteps of somebody checking into a room. More like somebody trying not to make a sound. I called 911 and whispered everything as quietly as I could. The dispatcher kept telling me to stay on the line. While I was talking, I heard one hard hit on the shared wall behind the headboard, like someone testing how solid it was. Then another lower down, and then just nothing. I was trying so hard to listen that I could hear my own breathing and heartbeat. Then I heard the bathroom window in my room start to move. It wasn't rattling this time, it was opening, but just a little. I ran to the bathroom and shoved it closed with both hands. Something on the other side pushed back once. Not that hard, but enough for me to feel it. I locked it, even though the latch looked flimsy as hell, and then I backed away. The dispatcher told me officers were 2 minutes out. I could hear movement outside my front door now too, like there was more than one person. Then came the soft knocks on the door, like the night before. I didn't answer. At that point, I grabbed the motel chair and jammed it under the doorknob, even though I knew that probably wouldn't do much. The police arrived maybe a minute later, but it felt like 10. As soon as headlights hit the curtains, I heard running. It was at least 2 sets of footsteps. The officers found that the screen on my bedroom window had been removed and was lying in the bushes.
Jesus.
They also found fresh pry marks on my truck door and on the door of the empty room next to mine. What I didn't find out until later was the worst part. The older officer from that morning came back and asked me privately if I had anyone angry at me or if I had posted online that I was staying there. I said no. Then he told me they had seen the green pickup before. According to him, there had been 2 other incidents in the previous 6 months involving men staying alone at that same motel for work. In both cases, someone had tried getting into their vehicles during the night. One guy said he heard people outside his room, but left before reporting anything else. The other one woke up to his motel door cracked open, even though he swore he had locked it. Nothing had been taken in either case. The officer said they believed the group was following out-of-town men from bars or work sites, then waiting until they were isolated and trying to get inside their rooms.
Jesus.
He never said exactly what he thought the end goal was, but he didn't need to. I packed my stuff while 2 officers stood outside. When I checked under the bed before leaving, which I normally never do anywhere, there was a folded piece of paper shoved almost against the wall. I only noticed it because I dropped my phone charger. It was part of a local newspaper torn into a square, and on the back, somebody had written my room number and my truck plate in pen. That meant whoever it was hadn't just picked me at random that night. They had been watching long enough to write things down. I left the motel before 1 in the morning and drove almost 2 hours home, even though I had one more day of work scheduled. My company sent someone else the next week, and I found out later he stayed in a different town. Besides my recounting of this story just now, I really tried to just put this experience behind me.
I mean, god damn. Yeah. Never again. I hope you never stayed in a motel ever again. Club that.
This story started in October 2025.
Here we go with the dating shits! Here we go with the dating app shits. God damn.
I was single and decided to download Tinder to see if I could find a potential partner.
Wow! You could have just said I was single. So I decided to go to the fair. I decided to go to the bar. I decided to go dancing. I decided to go to the club. I decided to go to the park. I decided to go to Dave & Buster's. There's a lot of places you could have decided to go, but you decided to on Tinder.
After a few swipes, I got a match. Killian liked you back, it said. I started smiling and opened with, "Hey, what's up?" He responded quickly, and we started talking all day, every day. He was in the military at a base not too far away from where I lived. Eventually, after a few weeks of talking, he became possessive over me.
Oh, Jesus.
He would say things like, "You're mine. If I can't have you, no one can.
Well,
And if you block or unfriend me, I'll kill you."
Damn.
Along with other threats. Keep in mind, we never even started dating. One day in December, he just unfriended me on Snapchat, and I didn't think too much of it. I moved on and kept living my life, until a few days ago when he added me again. Remembering the threats, I decided to add him back so he wouldn't do anything. He sent a snap that said, "I've been thinking about your beautiful smile for 8 weeks now."
8 weeks? Damn! Yeah, nah. We not doing that. I feel like your snap map or like your location for Snapchat is on, and he's gonna find some way of finding where you are. He's already possessed. We say obsessed. It kind of seems like he's obsessed. He's obsessive, possessive. Clock excessive. I don't know.
I keep thinking about what we could be if I didn't let my dark thoughts win. I responded with, "That's cute," not wanting to piss him off. We started talking again, and I responded mostly out of fear over what he might do if I didn't. He was acting like a possessive boyfriend, always asking where I was and who I was with. He kept asking me to turn on my Snap map so he could make sure I was safe.
There you go.
I didn't want to because he freaked me out. Thursday last week, I was driving around with my friend until about 1 a.m. I asked if he could drop me off at home, which he did. We said our goodbyes, and I walked up the alleyway to my house. Keep in mind, I never gave him my address. I saw a man standing there and didn't think much of it until he called my name.
Wow.
I didn't know who he was, so I responded, Yes, who's asking?" Then I saw his face. I felt my heart skip a beat. I started cold sweating. I felt panic in my body and started shaking. He then grabbed my neck with his hand and slammed my head hard into the wall and started studying my face.
Oh my God.
He kept saying things like, Who were you with? And why are you out this late? Was it a man? I just stood there completely terrified. This entire time, he was choking me so hard, I had literal tears in my eyes and was gasping for air. I genuinely thought he was going to kill me. He kept choking harder until he eventually threw me to the ground head first. I whimpered.
If you don't grab the banana and coconuts. I'm spazzing in this video. I don't give a cluck. My wife can't say nothing. I'm spazzing. If I ever get into a fight and it's like public, y'all gonna read about it. Y'all gonna hear about it. Y'all gonna see some sort of video. If somebody ever records it of, oh man, Gattor grabbed his bananas and coconuts. That man went straight to the ground. Yeah. I'm popping everything.
From the pain and gasped for air as he let go of my throat. I looked him in the eyes and saw nothing. There were no emotions there. He didn't feel bad at all. All of a sudden, he sat on top of me and slapped me hard across the face.
God damn.
I put my hand where he hit me as tears filled my eyes again. Then he started choking me again.
God damn.
This time, I was more sure that he was going to kill me. I looked up at the black sky and started thinking about my deceased dog. I even started smiling as I felt myself about to pass out. Then he suddenly let go of my throat. He said, "Fuck, I have to go. The last bus is leaving in 3 minutes."
What?
Then he ran away while I lay on the cold, wet ground trying to catch my breath. I was in shock and didn't know what to do. I decided to call my best friend and try to tell him what happened, but I couldn't talk. My vocal cords had been choked so badly I couldn't make a sound. My best friend only heard strange noises and said he was on his way. When I got to my friend's house, I fell asleep on the couch within 3 minutes because I was exhausted. While I was sleeping, my friend called the police and told them the situation. The next day, my friend drove me to the police station to give my statement, and I did. After I had been questioned, the police decided my life was in too much danger to just let me go without protection. I was given an alarm device, a tracking device with multiple buttons that would immediately alert the police of my location so they could save me, because we all knew he would come back. 3 days ago, I was followed by a friend of Killian. If the plan hadn't been for me to be picked up by a friend nearby, I don't think I would be here to tell this story. The police told me Killian's intention was to kill me, so if he had his own car or if there had been a later bus, I would probably be dead. Every time I leave the house or go outside, I fear he's watching, which he's told me he'll always be. One day I might not see him coming, and he might be waiting in that dark alleyway again, and I might not trigger the alarm fast enough. I'm not safe, and I just wanted to share this story in case I do end up getting killed. Be careful, everyone. I never even gave him my info to find me.
God damn, that's such a horrible way to end that story. Oh my God. Baby girl, I need you to get some damn protection. Dead ass. On mothers, on everything I love. Get some protection, please. Like, I don't care what it is. It could be like a or like a bop, bop, bop. Or like a taser. Or like a, what's it called? Pepper spray? Yeah. Something. You need something. Because it really seems like you're scared for your life every time you leave the house. I feel really bad for you. That is such a horrible way to end the story. Because I need an update. I'm going to need an update from you. And I need protection. Get something to protect yourself with. Either that or start, and I don't know about start because I don't know if you get it or not, but like take some self-defense classes, you know? And I really encourage you. I'm being so serious. To grab and clench, damn near pop a coconut. I'm telling you on everything I love, from a man's point of view, we are sensitive down there. I think more sensitive than girls' breasts. If something lightly touches down there, we kind of jump up a little bit, you know what I mean? So can you imagine what it would feel like to us if you popped one of our coconuts? Man, come on. I feel bad. I'm nervous for you. I'm nervous.
My name is Mike, and this happened last October when I decided to take a solo camping trip in the Smoky Mountains. I had been feeling burnt out from work and just wanted a couple quiet days away from everything. I had done solo trips before and never had any issues, so this didn't feel like a big deal at the time.
Yeah, until now.
I left early in the morning, and the drive took most of the day. A couple hours before reaching the park, I stopped at a small roadside diner because I was getting hungry, and I knew food options would be limited once I got deeper into the mountains.
Hell no.
The place was pretty empty. Just a few older people drinking coffee and a waitress who looked like she'd been working there forever. I sat at the counter and ordered a burger and fries. While I was eating, I noticed a man sitting a few stools down from me. He wasn't doing anything strange exactly, but he kept glancing in my direction without really turning his head. I remember thinking he probably just noticed I wasn't local. At one point, he asked where I was headed, and I told him I was going camping up in the mountains. He just nodded and said,
Why would you say that? Why would you say that? That's like me about to leave for work and my neighbor says, "Hey, where you going?" Oh, and I tell him, "Oh, I'm about to go to work." But nobody's home. So, do with that what you will. What?
To be careful out there. I asked what he meant, and he just shrugged and said it gets real quiet out there at night.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't think too much into that and just paid the bill and left.
Okay.
By late afternoon, I reached the area where I planned to park. It was just a dirt pull-off near a trailhead with no other cars around. That should have maybe been my first sign to pick somewhere else, but I liked the idea of being alone. I grabbed my backpack and gear and started hiking in. The trail wasn't too hard, but it took longer than I expected, and I started realizing I was going to be setting up camp close to dark. I eventually found a small clearing that looked good enough. It was flat and had enough space for my tent and a small fire. I rushed to get everything set up before it got too dark. By the time I finished setting up the tent, the light was already fading, and the woods were getting that gray color they get right before night. I gathered some sticks and got a small fire going. Sitting by that fire actually felt nice at first. I made some s'mores and just listened to the normal sounds you'd expect in the woods, like bugs and wind through the trees. After maybe half an hour, I heard something that didn't match the other sounds. It was the sound of footsteps on leaves. Surely human footsteps. I looked up and saw a man standing maybe 30 or 40 feet away between the trees. He was between the trees.
Jesus.
He was standing there just facing me.
Wow.
I couldn't see his face clearly because of the low light, but I could tell he was watching me. I called out, asking if he was all right.
What?
He stepped a little closer into the edge of the firelight and said hello.
What?
Just that one word, nothing else. I asked if he was camping nearby, and he deflected my question with another question.
What?
Asking if I was out there alone.
What? What's with all these questions? What's with all this dialogue? What's with the back and forth of the communication? Shut the fuck up. What are we doing, actually? What are we actually doing? Why are we talking back and forth? There's really no talking. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Move, 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 move. Get the hell away from me. Get the hell away from me. Get the God. Oh, you think this shit a game? The fact that y'all are having a full-on conversation is wild to me.
That question made my stomach drop a little. I hesitated before answering, and then told him no, that my friends were meeting me soon. That was a complete lie. I hadn't brought anything to defend myself, and I figured sounding like I wasn't alone was the smartest move I had. He just nodded slowly, like he accepted that answer. Then he turned around and started walking back into the woods without another word. I watched him the whole time. As he got farther away, he started blending into the darkness between the trees. Right before he disappeared completely, he stopped and turned back toward my fire. He just stood there again, facing me. I got the feeling he didn't think I could still see him, but I could barely make out his outline. He stood there for what felt like several minutes. I didn't want him to know I was watching, so I pretended to look down at my phone. My whole body felt tense, and I didn't feel safe going into my tent while he was still out there. Eventually, I looked back up, and he was gone.
Jesus.
I stayed sitting by the fire another 20 to 30 minutes trying to listen for any more movement. I didn't hear anything else, but I didn't feel relaxed anymore. I finally put the fire out and got into my tent. I tried to tell myself I was overreacting and that he was probably just another camper who was curious.
My ass.
I laid there trying to fall asleep, but I don't think I ever fully relaxed. About an hour later, I heard footsteps again.
Come on, yo.
This time they were much closer. I could hear them slowly moving around my campsite, leaves crunching in a circle around my tent. Then they stopped right outside. Everything went completely silent. I held my breath without even realizing I was doing it. I didn't know if someone was standing right outside the thin fabric of my tent or if I was just imagining it. But then I heard the sound of a man exhaling right outside. It wasn't loud, just a slow breath like someone standing still. And I don't mean that he was trying to make me hear it. I think I was just so hyper-focused that I heard something I usually wouldn't hear. Every instinct I had told me not to move or make a sound. I was afraid that if he knew I was awake, he might do something. So I just stayed completely still, pretending to be asleep. After God knows how long, I heard the footsteps slowly move away again. I waited a long time before even letting myself breathe normally. About 10 minutes later, the footsteps came back. It was the same circling around the tent. Then he stopped again, and then the same silence. This went on for—
Yeah, nah. Yeah, we're not doing. I'm airing this whole place out. I'm destroying the hell out of my tent.
for hours. Sometimes the steps would fade off into the distance and I would think he finally left. Then they would come back again. Either he was walking away and returning, or he was standing somewhere in the trees just watching and coming closer whenever he felt like it. I never heard any talking, but something about the way the steps sounded made me feel like it wasn't just one person anymore.
Oh no.
I can't explain why. Maybe it was just fear messing with my head. At one point, I noticed the inside of my tent starting to get lighter. I realized the sun was starting to come up, and that I'd been awake the entire night. As soon as there was enough light, I decided I was leaving. I didn't even bother eating. I just started stuffing things into my bag as fast as I could. My hands were shaking the whole time. When I finally unzipped my tent and stepped out, I immediately heard multiple sets of footsteps running off into the woods.
Oh my God.
Not just one, several. I couldn't see anyone, but I could clearly hear the sound of more than one person moving away through the leaves fast. That was the moment I knew I hadn't imagined anything. I didn't even finish packing properly. I just grabbed what I could carry and started jogging back toward the trail. I kept expecting to hear someone following me, but I didn't. I reached my car, I locked the doors, and I just sat there trying to calm down. At some point, I must have fallen asleep because I woke up hours later with the sun high in the sky. Part of me tried to rationalize everything. Like maybe it was just a couple other campers messing with me. I even considered going back to get the rest of my stuff since I had left some gear behind in my rush.
Clock that.
It was full daylight now, and I figured whatever happened at night wouldn't happen during the day, so I walked back down the trail. When I got to where I was certain my campsite had been, I stopped completely. My tent was gone. My sleeping bag was gone. The small cooking supplies I left were gone. Every last thing was gone. The only thing left was the black circle of ashes from my fire. I walked around the area thinking maybe I had the wrong spot, but I knew I didn't. The trees and rocks were exactly how I remembered. Someone had taken everything. I didn't see any trash or damage.
Hey. They took everything. But you have to be glad. I'm being so serious. You have to be glad they did not take that virgin hole of yours. You can take everything under the sun. You can take everything under the sun. Except where the sun don't shine. Don't take that. I need that. Pause.
Just empty ground, like I had never been there. I didn't look around any longer. I just turned around and walked straight back to my car. I didn't report it or try to find my stuff. I just wanted to get out of there. Losing the gear didn't matter to me anymore. The only thing that mattered was leaving without getting hurt. I drove straight home that day, and I haven't gone camping alone since. Sometimes I still think about how many people were actually out there that night, and how close they were standing to me while I pretended to sleep.
Jesus Christ. I guarantee you're not going to be alone next time you go hiking, because I promise you, you're going to still be hiking after that. You know, is done. That's crazy to me. You know, something clucked up happens, and something that you usually do. Like, let's say, for instance, you go to the movies once a week, or you go to the movies pretty often, like way more than the normal average person goes to the movies, like the movie theater, or you go to the mall, or you go to an arcade place. Or you go to amusement park like Six Flags. And you go there a lot. But then something clucked up happens. And it's like, any normal person would be like, yeah, nah. I'm going to minimize going to the movie theater every week. I'm going to minimize going to the mall 3-4 times out of the week. When malls are dying and they've been dead for a long time. You know? Yeah, I'm going to stop going to Dave and Buster's. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Dave? Is it Dave and Buster's? Or is it Dave and Buster's? I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna stop hiking alone. Oh, I'm gonna stop hiking as much as I do, because that what I just went through that was enough. That was a lot. But then it's like you got people that go through very traumatic things, and they still do that. They still do that activity. They still go to them places. What the cluck is wrong with you? Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my family.